Hello, friends and fans. Welcome back to the Butterfly Effect podcast. I'm Jack, and I'm here with Liam.
Hello.
And today we're talking about our Chapter 2 playthroughs. So, let's get right into it, shall we? So, obviously, you're starting off as Emma, and you're with Jacob going to the general store. And obviously, it's one of the most major choices of the game, mate. I have to ask you, did you kick the door down or did you persevere with the lock?
I did. I'm getting the impression that that's Emma's thing. She breaks into places. She loves kicking doors down. So yeah, I just was like, I've got a stage for it. I'm doing this.
Interesting. I mean, I did the opposite. I just.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think Jacob then just finishes with it, and he's like feeling all good about himself, and Emma is actually then semi-impressed with him. So I don't know if like their relationship goes up because of that.
With mine, it probably was the opposite. She kicks the door down, and then he's like, "Oh, I could have done that," and then Emma like makes him feel better by saying, "Oh, well, you loosened it for me. Don't worry about it."
Oh, fair enough. Right. Okay. So yeah, they're just generally walking around the store, aren't they? And Jacob, like sort of like typical bloke thing, you know, he sort of picks up the watermelons. He starts like making a joke, and again, I don't know if this was the same with you, but like Emma was laughing. She was sort of like totally going along with it.
Yeah, like it was obviously a very hit and miss thing. Like clearly Jacob makes her laugh, but there also is that time where she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna go over here." And just leaves when he's doing his beard thing. And especially when, you know, he mentions what he gets up to with watermelons, which, you know, is pretty fucked up. But, you know.
Yeah, so obviously, like, there are actually quite a few things to find in and around, like, this general area. The first thing of note for me was in the room at the back. I think it was the torn hiking bags.
Yeah.
Now, again, so obviously where we've been covering the Bizarre Yet Bonafide podcast, my first thought was, you know, Anne Radcliffe and is it Ed Benson? Was it the other person, that one of the hikers that went missing?
So yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, like if they have gone missing, again, it might be some sort of cover up. You know, they may be dead somewhere and they've just sort of stashed away their hiking stuff in a room. So yeah, that's almost something to keep a pin on. You then find the shotgun. Emma has like a little funny moment where I think, is it me? Like, it's everyone that sort of trials out a gun in this game. They have to like do some little funny movements with the gun, like they're some sort of badass. But
yeah,
it's something I've noticed. And then for me, anyway, I found a couple of other things as well. So like there was this like blueprint of the lodge. And it was something about like getting repairs done because the chimney is a little bit problematic. And obviously I know in chapter 1 I mentioned that the chimney does seem a little bit loose. So I don't know how much of an impact that could come back, you know, into later on. But it's been mentioned twice now. So I think I'll sort of keep that in the back of my mind to an extent. Yeah, and then like for me anyway, she then finds the code that's attached to the gun. She goes back to the safe, and I chose to take fireworks. As soon as I did that, I was thinking, oh, could this bite me on the arse later on? But I suppose my thinking was it might be sort of some sort of good end game thing where you might have to set fireworks off to let people know, you know, where you are essentially. So I did take the fireworks, and I know you mentioned in the last episode that was actually part of like the premonition, like the premonition was guiding you to take the fireworks. So I'm actually glad I did because I never saw that before. But yeah, how did that scene play out for you, mate?
Yeah, it's a funny one, mate, because like obviously it seems like you're doing a little bit better than me, you know, getting the clues. But obviously before you weren't, you know, using the premonition because obviously it's not really clearly indicated as to how you do that. So yeah, like I got one tarot, and this is the one premonition I've got so far. But basically, yeah, like the first time I saw it, which was last night actually, basically you sort of like grab the fireworks out of the box on the safe, and then there's like this explosion thing. And I kind of went to bed last night thinking, oh, that's bad. I can't pick up those fireworks. They're harmful. And when the choice came up, do you want to take the fireworks? I was like, okay, I'm going to go back in the menu. And I went proper forensic, and I was thinking, right, let's look at the movie again. And then you could almost see like this wolf figure, and I'm pretty sure it's grabbing or dragging Emma. And then this like firework explosion scares the wolf away. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is almost like the flare gun in Until Dawn. I need those fucking fireworks. So yeah, I kept them with me. So it's one of those examples of, you know, if you get a premonition, they can be really useful. Because I think if I didn't have that, I think I would have left them. I'm not going to lie, I think I was going to go for that whole Man of Medan type thing where I'm thinking weapons are bad, I shouldn't pick them up. I could harm one of, you know, myself or others around me. Let's probably not give like explosives to teens. So yeah, I've got the fireworks as well. I also just want to quickly backpedal. When you're looking around the sort of warehouse or whatever it is, the store even, is Emma, there's this box of props that you can use to scare Jacob with. We were just speaking about this, but yeah, like, did you obviously see this box then?
No, not a clue. The only thing for me, I think it was in the same room as where the shotgun was. There was like this cardboard box in there that she picks up, and then she just immediately drops it back down to the ground again. So yeah, I completely missed that.
Yeah, it's just when you're walking through the store and it's on one of the shelves, there's a box and there's a spider and a mask, and you can choose to prank Jacob. Now, I said no because, you know, like, and one of the reasons is, he's gone through a lot. Like, I think it's just, you know, like, in Until Dawn, there's almost a lot of jump scaring going on, and I wanted to break away from that. And I just thought Emma dumps the guy and then jump scares him. I'm a bit like, I don't know. If you want to dump him, you probably shouldn't be doing stuff like that, because it could be seen as like flirty and playful or whatever. But yeah, like, I do know for a fact though that the two props in there, one was a spider, and I think that if you do choose to prank him, you can choose which one you use. The other one is a mask, and it's actually the Psycho mask from Until Dawn. So it's a little Until Dawn Easter egg there, which, you know, is quite enjoyable.
Oh no, I wish I saw that. I really wish I saw that. I suppose I'll get it back in a future playthrough. But speaking of Until Dawn, it is good like that. There are little parallels, like how you just mentioned, with like scaring with the mask. Obviously, you can do the same with Mike, you know, and Jess.
Yeah.
When you little shack. I've noticed it playing so far that there are little parallels that I'm starting to pick up as that sort of nice ideas and nice nods to Until Dawn. But yeah, all right. Well, shall we move on then to the sequence with Dylan and Ryan?
Yeah, of course. Let's go for it.
Yeah. So when you're playing as Dylan Ryan, you essentially go into Chris's office, and you know you can explore around. And I'm going to say this now before I forget it, but you know how there's a gun on the wall?
Yeah.
And there's a well, you can go to pick it up, and then Ryan says, "No, don't pick it up. Leave it." I purposely kept going back to pick it up. I was hoping, you know, maybe his back would be turned, I'll get away with it. I went to pick it up again, and Ryan went, "Bro, I just told you, don't pick it up." And to be honest, like, it's really kudos to Supermassive here, because they could have literally just recycled the same clip over and over. I then went to pick it up again, and it then come up with a thing on the side saying that Ryan is like getting more impatient and disappointed in me because I keep going back for the gun. It's just a nice little detail that I thought I'd add in there, because, you know, like I said before, they could have just recycled the same clip of "No, don't pick up the gun." But yeah, so Dylan keeps wandering round, and he finds like this lodge, this sort of lodge of book thing where you can see the names of Laura and Max crossed out, and we see their surnames for the first time, being Kearney and Brinley. I don't know if that's any significance. I might have to do a bit of Googling to see if there's sort of a little reference or nod to something here and there, maybe werewolf related. But I suppose the big point of this chapter, besides the little photo frame that you find as well with Chris and his kids, is the fact that there's a trap door as well in that little office. And I suppose what I wanted to ask you, mate, is did you shut the trap door or did you go down there?
I went down there. Now, this decision is something that was in IGN's analysis of the first 3 chapters, a little spoiler. Just before I carry on, did you go down yourself, mate?
I did, and
Yeah,
I'm kind of regretting it.
Because of the ladder.
Yeah.
I went down there anyway, and I know that this could harm, but it could also maybe go in your favour, like maybe a hillbilly tries to get up there and then has an accident. But I am kind of a bit worried about it. I knew that this would happen, but I went for it anyway. Maybe because I thought there's probably other potential clues down there as well. There's not, it's just that one sequence, you going down the ladder and right back up.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, it's kind of made me potentially regret making that decision, mate.
It's honestly, that was the exact same thinking for me, because I was like, oh, there could be clues down there, and I'd be kicking myself if like I was missing stuff because, you know, I just didn't have the balls to go down there. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. I'm now looking at it and I'm thinking, oh god, like it's quite clear that rung of the ladder's gonna fall off at some point. Like you say, it could be to a benefit. It could be that, you know, someone's getting chased by the werewolf or hillbilly and it holds out for one person, but then the second person that's chasing then falls. We don't know. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But then, moving on from that, the inner child in me was even more delighted when they opened up that door and there was a hidden room behind the closet, filled with computers and with all sort of cameras that were sort of looking at different trails over the campus. What did you particularly think of this sequence, mate? You know, was it something that piqued your interest? Obviously, Chris does have a little secret room where he keeps an eye on things. Like, does that ring sinister to you?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's just clearly a wolf, right? Like, he's got a meds cabinet full of all these, like, heavy dose meds, you know? And I'm just like, okay, and, you know, the way he acted out as well, you know, freaking out and how he distanced himself from the campers on the full moon. Like, this guy is clearly a wolf. But yeah, obviously it's freaky. I found it quite amusing how they tried to avoid it. Oh, maybe it's just to look at trails and stuff. It's like, guys, the room's hidden in a fucking wardrobe like Scott in Heavy Rain, you know, Scott Shelby. You know, this is serial killer level stuff. So yeah, like, obviously really freaky. I quite like the little scare or kind of sequence where you see Jedediah cutting out one of the cameras as well in front of Dylan. A bit weird how he shrugs it off though, like, oh, it's probably nothing. It's like you've just seen a man that you don't recognize in the forest, mate.
Yeah,
but no, yeah, it's a good sequence though. No, I really enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah, I did think that as well. They do seem to just conveniently turn the other way, didn't they, with all these various goings on and stuff. But yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I was actually really trying to hone in on those medical things in that cabinet to see if there was any particular clues, but all I could see is that it was like painkillers, you know, like ibuprofen for Chris Hackett. There wasn't any detail that I could see on there that would offer a clue, but again, you're right, like it's obviously something that troubling him. You know, we think that he's gonna be the wolf, but a good scene nonetheless. Really good one for like just investigating and, you know, general snooping without the fear of getting caught, which I did enjoy. So yeah, we're now gonna roll back over to Nick. So I mean, mate, what bit did you want to cover first? Did you want to cover the shooting sequence first, or the bit where he's wandering around with Abigail?
I guess we'll go chronological, right? So we better go for Abby before they get back to the campfire, right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we've already discussed this, but we were just chatting a little bit about the potential choices. And when I mentioned, oh yeah, this, you were like, wait, what the fuck? And then you obviously sussed it. We picked different paths, which is what I was hoping for, because I have no idea what happens on Rocky Road, and you probably have no idea what happens at Shady Glade, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, I mean, I guess I can start. I'll tell you a bit about what happens at Shady Glade if you like, and then stop me if like it gets back to the same sequence as you or whatever. But essentially, for me, you're in this foresty area. You're walking around. Now, I was very conscious that there's probably clues everywhere here, but I was kind of recording, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through every tree, looking at every like bit of blade of grass. So I kind of kept it quick. I managed to find a stream on the far left where, you know, you can talk to Abby. She asks where it leads. You sort of say a lake, and they kind of have a bit of flirting. You know, it's nice and playful. I quite like it. You come across a ranger box as well. Now, in this ranger box, you find, you know, you open it up, and there's some ranger clothes, which almost looks like the clothes Chris was wearing. Now, so it's already made me think that this guy has distanced himself from the group. He's driven away. And his clothes have ripped off from him, maybe turning into a wolf, and he's dumped them in this ranger box. So yeah, that's an interesting point for you.
Right, okay. Yeah, now that is interesting. Like, why? What makes me think, though, if he is the wolf, why wouldn't he just drive so far away so that when he turns into a wolf, he doesn't...
Yeah.
I mean,
like if full moons happen monthly, maybe this is from a different month. But then again, why leave it in a ranger box that's not even locked? So yeah, maybe there's a plot hole there, or maybe it's like, you know, I need more information to understand why this has happened. But then later on, it goes into a sequence where you're sat at a log together doing some drawing. Did you have that?
Yeah, I think we've caught to the same point now, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, obviously before we get there, we'll backpedal, and then, yeah, so what happens on Rocky Road, mate?
So the first thing you spot is something about this particular rock, quartzite. It tells you something about the rock, which, by the way, I have noticed that one of the pathways is called Pieces of Silver in this game, and obviously you know about werewolves and silver bullets, so
yeah,
it could be that, you know, in the quarry there's silver, like there is an abandoned quarry. They do mention, I think, that there's caves underground, and I was thinking possible end game scenario where you have to, you know, get a load of silver or something to defeat the werewolf. Who knows? But yeah, so Rocky Road, there's two pathways in Rocky Road. You can walk down both of them. I initially walked left, and then you see a tarot card, and it's called the Hanging Man. So I collected that, and I actually walked all the way round, and I was sort of nervous because there is the sign, it says falling rocks, beware, or something. But it doesn't really come to anything. Like, there's a few rocks that fall in like a cutscene, but you don't have any QTEs. There's no sort of panic that you're going to get crushed or anything. And then you walk on further, and I don't think you find anything else. I think it then cuts to the scene where they're both sat on the log, mate. So from what it sounds like is that you probably picked the better route.
Mind you, yours had a tarot, unless I missed a tarot. But maybe the tarot was in that choice. I know, for example, like the Wolf Among Us have games where there's two branches or two choices, and then, you know, two paths, and then a clue would be on one and not the other. So some, you know, maybe it's one of those ones where I picked the one without the tarot, but I picked the one with the cooler clue. So, you know, maybe it's like one of those ones where it's like pros and cons for both.
I've got to admit, the more I'm playing, the more I do think that it does require more playthroughs to collect the clue, like to collect everything. Because there have been situations now where it's like, go down this path, and then when I look on the menu, there are gaps on the menu, and I'm thinking, I've obviously missed something there. So as the game goes on, it's definitely getting to a point where I'm sort of like, at first I was doing brilliant in terms of collecting clues and tarot cards. Gaps are starting to emerge now, so it is probably because of that. But yeah, I mean, did you want to take it away on like the whole, you know, log sequence?
Yeah, of course. So Abigail obviously starts to draw. I thought as Nick, like, I'd go playful. I'd be like, oh, draw me. And then she didn't take it too well. She's like, I'm trying to concentrate. I was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. So yeah, I kind of regret doing that one. But yeah, I quite like them as a couple, you know. I think like an easy thing the game could have done is got the introverted guy with the introverted girl, and then Abby and Ryan could have been a couple. But no, they've gone with Nick, who's almost like this midway guy. He has a bit of confidence. He's clearly quite quirky with the lads. He can dish a bit of, you know, banter on like the jock Jacob. But he's clearly got this little bit of depth to him, and, you know, like he's getting this summer romance with Abby. And I quite ship them, you know. Like I had these phobias at the start that they would be quite boring. But, you know, they do actually have their charms. I quite like them. But yeah, we get to this scene with the boar, where a little like boar or piglet thing runs out, and I guess it's the introduction of a new sort of like don't move sequence or like breathe sequence, which I'm not gonna lie, I think I might need a bit more practice at. I completely failed. I quite like the animation thing as well, that tells you about the nature and what to do if a bear comes or whatever. That was quite fun. But yeah, what happened essentially, yeah, like the piglet was like sniffing me and I was holding my breath, but I just let go too early. I did it when it left, but yeah, like obviously too early. And then, you know, in the words of Nick, I got slimed. But I played it off cool. I was like, oh yeah, like did you draw it? And, you know, they went away in high spirits. So yeah, a nice little fun scene there. Was it very similar for yourself, how it played out with my one?
No, so with me, to quickly touch back on Abigail and Nick, I actually forgot to mention this in like the last one, but I think it's perhaps more relevant now. But I don't know if you have a favourite character at this point, but for me it's Abigail. I really don't know what it is. I just think it's her overall sort of innocence and charm, and there's nothing wrong with having a girly girl in a game. I think there's an obsession nowadays that you've got to have these strong women that are sassy and bold, and she's just, you know, she likes doing her own thing. She's at one with nature. She likes drawing. She seems quite content with herself. Obviously she's got a thing for Nick as well. I don't know, I'm really warming to her. Like, of all the characters so far, she's the one I'm warming to, so I thought I'd just give a little big up to Abigail there.
I agree. There's a nice contrast between, say, like you say, Abby and Emma, like two completely different girls, but then they go quite, you know, well in harmony. And then you've got different guys there. You've got like the jock, the kind of like goofball, the really introverted guy who's like obsessed with his music and his podcasts. Nick's sort of the one I want to get a bit more from, but obviously we'll see how that goes. But yeah, sorry mate, crack on with what happened in your little sequence there.
So yeah, obviously, yeah, like the boar comes, and I think it come up saying save Abby, and I chose not to because I was thinking I can't see the threat. I don't know what I'm saving from. And obviously, yeah, it plays out with like the little public information film, which again I'm really going to big up. I really like these things because I know some people would argue, oh, it takes you out the moment, you know. I think at this point in the game, it is still slightly tutorial based. You're not in any real jeopardy, and that's how I'm sort of taking it. And it's sort of a nice little way of presenting the whole gameplay mechanic. And then, of course, yeah, obviously the boar's sniffing you. And what I've essentially picked up from, whether I'm right or wrong, you're pretty much holding your breath literally right near the end, mate. I think as soon as like the red disappears from the screen, and as soon as like obviously the red bar is like near the bottom, I think that's when you're safe to let go. That's what I did, and then the boar sort of wandered off, and Nick quickly got up and ran behind Abby, and I think it was okay. But yeah, nice little sequence.
No, that's good, and I appreciate the advice because that's probably going to come really handy later on down the line. With Until Dawn, I was failing the don't move sequences, and then when it really mattered, I scraped through. But yeah, there's tutorials in the thing. Maybe it's worth me just trying them out. But yeah, noted. I'm going to hold my breath right till the very end this time.
All right, sweet. So let's move on to the shooting sequence, shall we? Another fun little sequence. I've got to say, I know this is a horror game. I'm really reveling in just the writing and the fun nature of it so far. The chemistry and the banter with the characters. They feel more as a group, dare I say, than Until Dawn. And I've said this a couple of times now, where bigging up the Quarry more than Until Dawn, but I really like the harmony. It feels a lot more believable, and I think that this sequence goes away to demonstrating that. So it's pretty.
You know what? I'm gonna interject and kind of agree with you there, because if you think about it, with Until Dawn, mate, like they're a friend group, but also they're a very broken friend group. You've got different couples in, you've got exes in there, there's arguments. With the Quarry, it's a very different dynamic. They're not a friend group. They're summer counselors who, you know, like Emma's confirmed, her and Jacob live full states away. They're all thinking like, this might be the last night we ever get to like hang out with each other.
Yeah.
And it makes a really interesting dynamic where you've got all this like romance that's like desperate to like come out for one more night. You've got people that can probably show their true colours, like, oh, I'm not going to see you again, bye. But there's also people that like they feel like they're going to miss. And like you say, the writing's really strong. And it's almost a detriment for us because it's like, it's making us fall in love with these characters. And we know that their night is about to go down horribly. And it's just going to make us fear for them more, right?
Exactly, yeah. There isn't a character that I dislike at the moment. There are certain characters where like they've got certain traits that might rub me up the wrong way, but do you know what I mean? That was the same with Until Dawn, and you know, characters can go on arcs and they can turn you round and stuff. Yeah, like obviously with this shooting sequence, I nailed it. I'm guessing you nailed it with shooting the watermelons.
Yeah, and you know what, mate? I have a feeling I might need to change the difficulty on my game. The quick time events are too easy. Like when it's like, oh, high five, it's there for like a decent 5 seconds, and then I do it. I'm like, I probably actually, I've just gone on default difficulties, but I actually feel I need to amp it up because I'm finding the quick time events too easy.
I think I am as well, but I'm also in the point of like, do I want to change it now for like consistency purposes? I'm probably going to stick with it, but that's the thing. I am quite easily getting it because like it comes up, doesn't it, in terms of like what direction to you know, move the, you know, analog stick, or for you the mouse, whatever it is. But yeah, so obviously I did that, and obviously one thing that come to mind as well. A quick side note: I think Call of Duty fans will appreciate this, but there's a scene in COD 4 where like you have to like knife the watermelon. And the person who's like watching you, it's like a training sequence, and the person who's watching, he says,
"Nice, your fruit killing skills are remarkable."
And it's always, I've just noticed, it's always the watermelon. And it's the first thing that come into my head, like when I finished shooting all 3, I was like, your fruit killing skills are remarkable. So yeah, that's sort of like a trip down memory lane. But yeah, obviously then Jacob misses, he fucks it up. I really took this as an opportunity to like gloat. Like I know you could have sort of like, you know, oh, don't worry about it, man, but I full on gloated, and I'm glad that I did, because you then see Nick come out his shell a little bit, and he's like, he does the little peanut butter pop dance with like pelvic thrusts and all that sort of, you know, thing. And
you know what, it's funny because I didn't do that. I just went, oh, better luck next time. But the funny thing is Caitlin does the trash talking for you, and this is why I love Caitlin. She comes in and goes, better luck next time. And like
these little puns, yeah.
Yeah, and then Nick's like, I wasn't gonna say it, but she did. And like Jacob's just like, I hate you guys. It's just funny just to see Jacob the jock. And it's quite interesting. I expected Jacob to bully everyone, be a bit of like this boisterous character, but he gets a lot of the stick, and it's actually like, it's really interesting to see.
It is, yeah, and obviously it's pretty cool. Like Caitlin then just takes the gun, and she shoots bottles, isn't it? Doesn't she like shoot all the bottles in quick succession? They're like, damn, like Caitlin's like fucking good with a gun. So
absolute Lara Croft.
Yeah, there is actually a thing later on. In chapter 3, I won't go into it too much, but chapter 3, it might be a future chapter, but you get the choice whether like you can give Caitlin the gun. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna give her the gun, like she's a really good shot.
Alright.
Yeah, but moving on from that, unless you have any other points, shall we talk about Truth or Dare?
Yeah, let's go for Truth or Dare.
So I'll tell you what, mate, my memory's sort of not serving me very well on this particular bit, so if you want to take the lead on it for like...
That's more than fair. I've literally just played this, so this is fresh in my mind. So yeah, I guess there's 4 bullet points I have really, mate. Oh, sorry, I've got my cat, like, yeah, like, trying to like had a paw in my mouth. Ruby, stop. Right, so the first one I've got is so B is the first person who's asked about this game.
Yeah.
So she's asked, have you ever slept with anyone? Now, firstly, you have the choice as Ryan, because you're playing as Ryan for the sequence, whether you interrupt that. So did you do that, Jack?
I did, yes.
Oh, I didn't. So for me, I didn't, and then Dylan completes his sentence by saying at this camp, and Abby's like, oh well, no, I haven't, and then it just moves on. I'm guessing. Now, I thought if I interrupted, it might harm Ryan's reputation a bit. I thought the group already thinks he's boring. I better not, ruin it more. So that was what my school of thought was. Now, let me know what you did, mate. You interrupted. What happened?
Yeah, you're spot on, mate. I'm pretty sure it does come up saying that, that Dylan is sort of like disappointed with Ryan or something in true Telltale style with like these little lines. No, the thing is, I've not seen character relationship bars on the menu, so I really don't know how much these relationships factor in, but I do have a slight bias towards Abigail at this point, so a chance to defend her, I was in there, so
Yeah.
I did interrupt.
Okay, interesting. I guess the next one is Ryan gets asked. So it's yourself. It goes around to Emma, who takes over Abby's turn because she takes too long, and Emma chooses you as Ryan. Truth or dare. Now I know for a fact that we pick different things here.
Yep.
So I'm just going to start with you. So you pick truth. Why did you pick truth, and what happens when you do pick truth? Because I literally have no idea, mate.
I picked truth because I suppose it's because of me. When I play truth or dare, I typically like to warm up with truths first and then maybe like dip my toe into like doing dares. So I picked truth, and to be honest, I sort of wish I picked dare because what Emma asks is, what was you talking to Chris about earlier on? And I can't remember if it then gives you another choice. Oh, it does, yeah. I think you can either be mischievous, but I can't remember what it is you say, or you can be honest. And I was honest, and I said, it's nothing interesting. I was just asking him for life advice.
Yeah.
And Emma's like, what do you need help on, sort of thing. And he was like, I've answered the question. Like, I'm not gonna, go into it. I think he does mention about, what's life gonna look like post summer camp. But
yeah,
it's nothing too revealing, mate. So I kind of wish I picked dare.
Okay, so I mean that's interesting. Yeah, I guess I picked dare because I'm actually the opposite to you. I feel like when the game's getting started, people start with light dares. So I'm like, I'll get in there early with a dare that's light, because whenever people have to go dare later on, they're gonna get all the brutal stuff. Essentially, Emma says, okay, this one comes with a choice. You either have to kiss Dylan or you have to kiss Caitlin.
Right.
Now, so here's the thing with me. Now, obviously, I prefer Caitlin a lot, but I guess this would be a good chance to talk about sort of like some of the relationship dynamics here. I actually chose for Ryan to kiss Dylan because I guess I ship those two more. They had their playful banter earlier, in Chris's cabin, where like Dylan clearly is into Ryan and he's flirting a bit, asking about like sort of which way they swing, and it kind of insinuates both of them are probably like bisexual. Maybe I could be wrong there, so correct me in the comments if I am. But yeah, I also sort of saw Caitlin as this badass who's almost like Sam in Until Dawn. Now, like, I feel like I don't want my game to be watered down with too many couples going on.
Yeah.
And I think Caitlin is like Sam. She's like this badass who's like, I want to fly solo in my game. I don't think Caitlin, she's like witty, she's funny, she's badass, she's like Lara Croft. I don't think she needs to be watered down by a romance story. I know like in the opening scene, it almost sort of shows, she probably likes Ryan. But yeah, I thought, I'm gonna kind of maybe have a bit of like a gay storyline going on. If it, obviously I'm gonna see how it works out. But I thought I'd kiss Dylan, and no one mentions much of it. But like it's quite fun because you sort of see Ryan choose, and he's like, "Oh, come over here, Dylan," and you can see Dylan's eyes clearly light up. It's quite a funny scene. So yeah. That's what I had. But yeah, any surprises with that, mate?
You know what? It's not surprising actually, because I feel like they've set them three up. You've got Nick and Abby, you've got Jacob and Emma, and then it's them three, isn't it? They're sort of like, Caitlin is almost looking on at Ryan, sort of, but she doesn't. She's very guarded. I don't think she's really revealing that much. Dylan is obviously the more playful one, who's clearly into Ryan, and Ryan's sort of like a closed book. Like, you can't really see what's going on with him. In terms of what I would have done that, I mean, I would have picked Caitlin, but I do sort of sympathise with the angle that, you know, maybe from like a storytelling point of view, because they've really positioned Ryan and Dylan together, you know that there will be people that would pick that. So yeah, no, that's interesting, and I'm not surprised that was the dare at all. So
yeah, I guess like I just thought I shipped Ryan and Dylan more, so I thought I'd put them together. But yeah. So obviously, yeah, like in the comments, guys, let us know what you did, because I'm dead intrigued. Like, does Ryan belong with Dylan or Caitlin? Let us know. That's like another little cool side thing there. The next part of the truth or dare game is that you have to ask someone a question. I can't remember if you picked them.
Caitlin,
or...
isn't it?
Yeah, like for me it was Caitlin, so I'm guessing it has to be Caitlin. So she picks truth. Now I'm pretty sure there's a mischievous one and a boring one. You say you can either ask her, have you ever slept with Jacob? Or what did you want to be when you grow up? Now I picked the more boring answer because I just thought like, you know, like Jacob's just broke up with Emma. Chances are no, like I doubt they have, but I don't know, I just didn't think it was that interesting a question. So I thought I'd go for the more plain Jane. What did you want to be when you grow up? What did you pick, Jack?
The exact opposite.
Okay, cool. No, this we've done this so different, which is fucking brilliant. I was hoping that.
Yeah, so obviously...
Let me know, mate, what happens when you ask her about Jacob?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, I was saying about, you know, getting warm up. I've had a couple of boring answers. I've had the truths. And so I was like, you know what? Yeah, go for the mischievous one. And yeah, she basically says that... Oh, she's testing my memory. She says that, yeah, they have kissed when they were practicing kissing or something like that. And then... I think she says that they ended up stopping because it was sort of like her kissing her brother or something. It was something like that. It was
okay.
She was digging Jacob out basically, and then that was pretty much it.
Oh, fair play. For me, like Caitlin's like, oh, that's a boring question. I don't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And then she tries to move on, but then Ryan stops her like, nah, I smell bullshit. Tell us, what did you want to be when you grew up? And she talks about being a street performer. So like, you know, those statues on the street that, you know, like get like, you know, a coin for like if they do a trick or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, like then I guess the group go to sort of laugh a little bit. Like it's kind of a nice wholesome scene actually. Jacob's there like, no way, imagine like Caitlin as a mime. I don't buy that. And like, yeah, it's just a nice wholesome scene really. So I'm kind of glad I picked that one. But yeah, like, you know, obviously it would have been cool to have seen what you had as well. So yeah. Okay, and then are you happy to move on to the final bit, the kind of the conclusion that makes this whole campfire scene go a little sour?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So yeah, I guess Caitlin moves on to Emma, and you know, it like asks, oh, I dare or truth? She picks dare because it's Emma. Of course, she's gonna pick dare. It's like, do you kiss Jacob or Nick? Now, yeah, there's a lot of thoughts going on in this sequence, mate. Firstly, I guess you don't want to have to... You probably wouldn't pick Jacob because it might lead him on. I think Jacob's a bit dumb to sort of think, oh, well, it's clearly going to be me. But, like, yeah, she goes and picks Nick. Now, I don't know about you, mate, but does your respect for Emma here go right out the fucking window?
It does, kinda, yeah. And to be honest... I was expecting a choice at this point. When it then went, oh, I'm going to pick Nick, I was like, oh. Because to be honest, no, there is a dilemma. But again, I come back to that bias for Abigail. I would have picked Jacob I would have picked Jacob. So that when she walked over to Nick, I was sat there thinking, "Oh fuck, this is in a weird way." I was thinking, "Oh fuck," in a good way, because I was thinking, this is gonna mix things up a little bit in terms of relationships, and she fully goes for it as well. Like sits on his lap, like necking him basically, and he's somewhat respondent. I know in his facial expression, it's like he's somewhat hesitant because Abigail's sitting right there. But I thought it was a brilliant way to conclude the chapter. Actually, I was thinking, I've really liked how they've set things up here.
It's intriguing because I know that you probably wouldn't want to kiss your ex, so I get why she picked Nick, but it didn't need to be as drawn out as it was.
Yeah.
I've played those games, and often, if someone might stitch you up like that, do you kiss the ex or your best friend's love interest? And it's like, you might pick whatever, but you didn't need to full on make out the way she did. Now, I felt bad because Abby was clearly there, her, best friend, and the guy she's just been flirting with all day. So I kind of felt really sorry for Abby there, and I know that Abby's your favourite at the moment. You must have felt bad for her there.
I did, yeah. I did feel bad for her, but from a purely objective point of view, I liked it because it mixed things up. But yeah, from a biased perspective, I was like, Emma, we had a nice chat earlier on. You're supposed to be my Bezzy, and but I don't know. Without going into chapter 3 too much, it does sort of work itself out. But
I also think as well, from Nick's perspective, to not push her away and kind of have Abby right there. I'm I'm kind of disappointed in Nick as well. I'm I don't know. I get they're teens, and I don't know if they had any drink at this point. They seemed pretty sober. But yeah, just a surefire way to piss, Jacob and Abby off. I don't really blame Caitlin for asking the question. It's truth or dare. It's a bit of fun. But yeah, I don't know. You kind of sat there watching the event unfold, and I don't know. I just really unnecessary. I don't hate Emma necessarily, but she clearly gets a little kick out of stirring the pot, and kind of. That may sort of hurt people's feelings in the way, and I don't know, I'm just a bit I'd hate to be one of Emma's victims, for example, so yeah, there is that. But yeah, are we happy to move on from Truth or Dare?
Yeah, obviously, it's the hillbillies again, aren't they? They're looking down at the camp. A very brief scene, but it just goes to show that they are closing in on the group. So, did you have anything to add on this bit, mate, or should we just go straight to Eliza?
Yeah, I'm just trying to theorize what their aim is. I'm thinking they're not totally evil. I feel like whatever this wolf is going to be the monster in the game, and I feel like they're talking to Chris, and maybe they're looking out for the kids. I'm trying to think about it. I'm not actually gonna dwell too much. I'm gonna let it surprise me, but I just want to think maybe they're not totally as evil as they might appear. I don't think they're necessarily people wanting to hunt humans in the woods at night, and they're preparing for a sport. I don't think it's quite that. But yeah, no, I'm happy to move on to Eliza, mate. For myself, there's not much to report. I didn't find the tarot, maybe because I missed it in Shady Glade, maybe because it's at Rocky Road. But she had another little dig at me, I can't help you if you don't bring me anything. And I was like, Jesus Christ, love, I'm sorry. I'm trying to play the game. I'm doing my best here, all right?
And then there's me that's giving her the info, and I'm just no, I don't want to hear it. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the premonition thing, but I'm pretty sure going forward from here, I have been looking at them. I'm going to have to double check when I go back on, when I look at the menu. But yeah, that, it very much same as the last one. It was, a little bit of chatter. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, it's funny because you obviously have this Eliza who's having a go at me for not finding things. I have the analyst in Until Dawn slamming tables. It's just, I just want a narrator that's nice to me.
Yeah.
I'm getting absolutely bullied.
28 samples.
I'm gonna like join Jacob and cry on a pier. Like, but yeah, I've just got one additional external point to mention, mate. I don't know if you've got anything else about Eliza there.
I don't know. So fire away.
Okay. Yeah, I just guess I wanted to end this chapter just to take sort of a brief appreciation as something we've not talked about yet, which is the pause menu. Now, for me, Until Dawn had the most iconic pause menu with the kind of diagonal on face with the relationship bars scrolling through. And I have to say, early impressions with the Quarry, I find it worse than Until Dawn. I think just that Until Dawn one, it brought it out. It was more iconic. The way the music blended in with it, I quite prefer the kind of camera angle, wiggling the faces a little bit more than, say, the Quarry one, where it's very face-on. But one thing I will say about it is I really like the map feature. It tells you about all the different locations, what the locations are for, where the characters are at, so you can kind of keep tabs on. I used it very early doors, in the very first sequence where you play as Jacob, and I noticed that everyone was there together at the lodge or whatever at the main building, and then I could see that Abby was alone by herself at the cabins. And it's really cool that you can just kind of keep your tabs on like where the characters are at, what the locations are for. And I don't know, it's just a really nice, neat feature. So yeah, I don't know if you've got any comments about the pause menus, Jack, or if you prefer them to the Until Dawn ones, or just what you think about them in general.
I can't remember if I've already given you this tip or not, but basically, when you're like finding the clues, you can actually work out if you've missed clues, because I know I had a situation where I found a clue, I looked at the menu, and then there was like a couple of gaps. I was like, right, I've missed something. I then sort of wandered back round and I then found it. It then sort of comes up as like a list. I've got to admit though, I'm not too big of a fan of having to scroll down. I know it's sort of such a minor thing, I know, but I do prefer the display for Until Dawn for the clues with like the little picture and then just like a caption underneath. Honestly, other than that, yeah, like I echo your point with the map. I like the sort of the videotape background when you look at the the pathway thing, and just that whole vibe. On the whole, very positive. I've not got bad things to say about the menu and just the heads-up display in general.
Yeah, no, that's good, mate. No, fantastic. Yeah, I'm happy to wrap it up there, mate. That was like a really strong chapter, maybe the strongest one yet. I'm really eager to get stuck in for chapter 3. I'm yet to play it, so that's going to be what I'm doing next.
Yes, it ramps up a little bit now. But yeah, I won't say any more. But yeah, honestly, guys, thank you very much for listening. If you've made it all the way to the end. This has been Chapter 2 analysis of The Quarry, and we're looking forward to share Chapter 3 with you very soon. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Sub, share, smash that like button. The Holy Trinity.